Hello and welcome to another week of Excellent Sports Talk. I am your host, Mark Bradley, and I am glad to see everybody back as usual. And so today, it's going to be a quick show, just like a quick 30-minute show, and we're going to end it there and just go ahead from there. But basically, it's going to be another NBA heavy show. I mean, because the NBA has been in the limelight for some time now, since they have been continuing on with their season. And so, basically, we're going to go ahead and speak on the NBA players boycotting games. And also, we're going to talk about the playoffs since I wasn't here last week. We're gonna discuss it. We're gonna discuss it and talk about the playoffs because there's been a lot of drama and a lot of good games that's being played and good series as well. So we're gonna go ahead and speak on that. And so yeah, let's get right into it since this is a quick go to. But before we do that, before I start on that, I wanted to talk about when I got my banner for the show. If you guys don't know, a good friend of mine, his name is Patrick Santa Cruz. He is basically getting into graphic design and make his own YouTube page. So if you guys want to go ahead and follow him, he does gaming on his YouTube channel. It's called Proto Squad on YouTube. Please, by all means, go ahead and give him a follow. Last time I was on here, I thought I was talking, but that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case at all. So I wanted to go back and make sure that he had the proper shout out. So I just want to thank him for making the banner for my show, and he did a great job as far as that. So yeah, I just want to thank him. I just want to thank him for that. And so now that is out the way, let's go ahead and get into it. So the NBA boycotts. The NBA has the players have been boycotting playing games due to the shootings of Omar black man. His name is Jacob Blake in Wisconsin. He was shot 7 times in his back, and thank goodness he survived. He survived, and he's going to live to tell his story, and hopefully with him living, which is usually not the case when it comes to situations like these, he can just go ahead and justice will be served for him, and that he can get that because he was able to survive. And so with that happening, it's the sports world has just been in an uproar ever since the death of George Floyd. And this seems to be a recurring theme for the sports world. I mean, not even in the NBA, but as well as the WNBA, MLB. It seems like all professional sports are taking a stand to try to find new ways to have equality that we have all been looking for, and we're definitely not getting it at this point. It hasn't been good at all. But basically, at this time, I think the NBA players are leading the fight in this situation because they're using their platform to bring awareness to the situation. And it's been one of those things where they have messages in the back of their jerseys. They were able to speak in post game interviews on bringing social change, and they're doing everything in their power to to bring this change. And I hope it does work. I hope people do get the message. And this situation has been a big backlash to the point where the NBA has started to boycott games, and they had to have a meeting to if the NBA players even want to continue on with the season or not. And what's the crazy thing about this that really stood out to me was about how the Los Angeles Clippers and the Los Angeles Lakers were both were two of the top teams who did not want to continue on with the NBA season. And that stands out to me because we know the Los Angeles Lakers and the Los Angeles Clippers are heavy favorites to win the NBA Finals. And for them to say, "Oh, we don't want to continue on with this," this speaks to how big this situation is. When two top teams who has a legitimate chance of winning the NBA Finals are saying no more. Like we don't want to continue on with the season. We want to go ahead and bring change into the world. That's really big. And so at the end of the day, the players did decide to continue on with the season, which it will begin on Saturday. And I know for a fact that a lot of the players are going to have a hard time playing in these games, knowing what's going on out there in the world, and they're just stuck in a bubble in Orlando, Florida. Really can't go anywhere, and can't leave the bubble unless they do leave, and they have to come back and quarantine for a couple of days, which I don't think a lot of NBA players want to do that. So I know it's going to be hard for them to play at a high level at this point, because this is a tough situation. And like I said, it's just like a recurring theme. Like we find, another reason why, like we trying to find reasons why, African Americans are not getting the same justice as, anybody else. And professionals, like I said, professional players are really stepping up to bring change. And I mean, to be honest, this situation is going to happen again. Like it's one of those things I don't think people could avoid. And we all know that racism is still alive and well, even in 2020, which is amazing to really think about. And we just and at this point, players just want change. And I don't know what's going to be the necessary steps to bring that change, but I mean, at this point, it's just like what can we do, right? We've been asking for it. The players have been asking for it, and nothing seems to change. And it's just like a circle. It's just a circle. Like it's just going to repeat itself. And unfortunately, that's the unfortunate truth. And hopefully, things can get to a point where people of color could feel safe, and hopefully it does get to a point where it can happen. But I mean, I don't. Honestly, I don't see it happening soon. I really don't. And at this point, it's just it's sad, and we it has to be to where something has to change. It has to. So that's basically going to be the end of that. Like I said, the NBA season is going to continue Saturday, and they are going to go ahead and see it through. See the NBA season through, and we can crown a champion. So let's go ahead and start on that. We're going to move forward with the NBA playoffs. And like I said, if you want to go ahead and comment, or you have questions, by all means, go ahead and put it in a comment section. I'll be able to read all YouTube comments and of course Twitch comments. I can be able to see those. If you're on Facebook, I have to read them out myself, because for some reason the streaming platform I use don't allow Facebook comments, and I hope to change that, because I like it to where it's all in one big place, and I can just see it right here, and I can share comments and interact with you guys a little bit better. So if you do have a question or comment, by all means, go ahead and put them down there. So let's continue on with the NBA playoffs. And like I said, since I haven't been here, we didn't have the chance to talk about it. And so far, it's been full of drama and surprises in the first round, and I was all for it. So I think to begin was when the both of the number one seeds in the conference lost. Oh, go Celtics. All right, there we go. We got our first comment. Celtics fan all the way. Celtics play really well. Play really well. And I'm gonna go ahead and get to that. But like going back to the first the both number one seeds losing in their first games, it was shocking. Was very shocking. And to be honest, in my eyes, I think the biggest shock was the Orlando Magic, and how they was able to dominate from beginning to end in game one was a humongous shocker to everyone. They played an amazing game. And another shocking reason that with this win is Orlando is basically playing with their bench. Like, players is hurt. Players are not playing in a bubble. We're talking about Mo Bamba. He's not playing. He's a great rim protector. Aaron Gordon was hurt for a little while. He came back and played though. Jonathan Isaac, who unfortunately had an ACL injury to his knee during the seeding games. And then we're talking like it's so many like missing pieces for the Orlando Magic, and for them to do what they did in game one was a huge shock to me. And they play well, but they haven't done much since. They haven't done much since. It's been all downhill for them, and I think it wasn't a surprise to anybody, because I mean, when you have basically who's going to be the MVP in Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's definitely going to be the MVP of the league this year. And the way Milwaukee plays defense, and also could score with shooting, because that's a big deal for them, because when Giannis get down to the lane, he attracts at least 3 or 4 people, and he can kick out to an open shooter. I mean, they have a good system in Milwaukee, and they showed it in the first round. So I think when the season does restart, it's pretty much a done deal for Orlando. It's a done deal for Orlando, and yeah, I predicted a sweep in my last show about 2 weeks ago. I predicted the sweep, but that wasn't the case. I was dead wrong. Orlando did play well enough to get one game, but that's about it. That's about it. I think that's the end of that. So let's talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. Them losing as well. I don't think that was much of a shocker because the way Portland was playing before the playoffs, it just went into the game one, and I think the only thing that was really shocking about that game is the way Portland playing defense. They played great defense against the Los Angeles Lakers game one, and they frustrated them through the whole game. They played a very well-rounded game. And don't get me wrong, it was coming down to the end. It was coming down to the end. The game was really close, but Damian Lillard, everybody knows when it's time, it's Dame time. It's hard to stop Damian Lillard. And he showed that in game one, pulling up from like 35 feet to get the buckets. Damian Lillard is I think a top 3 point guard in the NBA. And people might disagree with me, but I do believe he is a top 3 point guard in the NBA. And so they did what they had to do to beat the Lakers. The Lakers, they came out flat. They did not shoot the ball well at all in game one. And it was 4 missed free throws at the end of the game that really hurt the Los Angeles Lakers because they was in the driver's seat to win. But, those missed free throws, if you don't make your free throws at the end of the game, you can forget about it, especially a close game. But after that, man, the Los Angeles Lakers were playing like the team they were before the NBA decided to shut down, playing great defense. And of course, when you have LeBron and Anthony Davis on the same team, it's hard to stop that duo. It's hard to stop that duo. And Anthony Davis showed up in games 2 and 3. LeBron has been playing great the whole series with a big triple double in the first game, even though they lost. And games 2 and 3 has been no different. LeBron has been playing out of his mind. And, LeBron has never lost a first round series in his career. So, and it's not going to stop this year. So I see the Lakers going and handling their business when the season does start back up. And Damian Lillard is hurt and he's not in Orlando right now. He unfortunately had a knee injury that's going to keep him sidelined for probably the rest of the series. I mean, I think this is over with. So it's just a matter of time for the Milwaukee Bucks and Los Angeles Lakers to go ahead and move on. So let's go ahead to the east side of the bracket, and let's be real. The East was not competitive whatsoever in the playoffs. So let's begin with the Indiana Pacers and the Miami Heat. And to be completely honest with you guys, I thought this was going to be a 7-game series, but boy, was I wrong. I was so wrong about that. Miami was just focused from start to end. Miami was focused. They played defense. They shot the ball so well. Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson are two very underrated players, man. Duncan Robinson can get his own shot anytime, and he's a great 3-point shooter. And Tyler Hero is a very underrated rookie who's not getting as much shine as he should because Zion Williamson and John Morant are basically going to be the two rookies that were in the limelight, and none of them are even in the playoffs anymore. Tyler Hero is still there, and so I was surprised that it was so easy for them to just roll over Miami, to just roll over Indiana like they did, because Indiana was playing great basketball in the seeding game. So I thought they would give Miami a run for their money, and I was wrong. Miami did what they needed to do. So they're moving on. They're waiting for Miami and Orlando series, and the Milwaukee and Bucks and Orlando Magic series. And I think Milwaukee's going to move on. So that's going to be a good second round matchup of Miami and Milwaukee. And excuse me, Miami has the upper hand in the series in the regular season. They beat the Bucks. They beat the Bucks. I believe it was 2-1, 2-1 in the regular season. So if Miami can figure out, keep what they have going on, and they have a formula to beat Milwaukee, this could be a sneaky series. So let's move on to Boston and the 76ers. Wasn't competitive whatsoever either. That series was, I think out of all series, that was the one, like, you can tell Boston was the better team. Boston beat up Philly. Beat them bad. And this goes back to what I thought about the Philadelphia 76ers. I said if they could be healthy going into the playoffs, then they have a good chance to be an Eastern Conference Finals team. They were not healthy. Ben Simmons was not there because of his knee. And unfortunately, the 76ers do not have the pieces to compete with Boston. Now, don't get me wrong. Joel Embiid played an excellent series. For the 76ers, but it wasn't good enough. Tobias Harris had a pretty rough series, and he was the second guy to Joel Embiid because of Ben Simmons being hurt. He didn't play well, and the rest of the team is really not that good to carry a 4-game wins, four wins into the second round. It was impossible. What's up, Greg? How you doing? Honestly, I think depending on the heart of Portland, if they could come out and try to win, I think they have a chance. I thought the Heat was going to be a 7-game series. I did too, to be honest with you. Miami don't stand a chance to give the Bucks. Let's be honest. Yeah, but hey, like I said, they beat them. They beat them in the regular season. So, it's tough. Ben is too big to be playing the role he's in. His body's not going to hold up. That's interesting. That's an interesting take. Ben is such a good ball handler. It's hard not for him to play point. Now that Brett Brown is not in the picture and he was fired, it might be different. But I think Philadelphia needs a big makeover change. They have to get some better pieces to fit with Ben Simmons. and Joel Embiid, and Ben Simmons really need to step his game up. If he can't shoot, then players are not going to respect him because they're going to be in the lane waiting for him because they know he can't shoot. I think Ben is best when he's in transition. So Ben Simmons is going to have to get a 3-point shot. He has to. He has to. So let's continue on with the Toronto and Brooklyn series. And man, Toronto looks like a championship team, man. They rolled through the Brooklyn Nets so easy. And I don't think Brooklyn really stood a chance anyway, because that's another team that was just, they were supposed to just breeze through this season because they're let's be real, they're setting up for next year when Kyrie Irving is going to be healthy and Kevin Durant is going to be healthy. They basically went through the season like, okay, we're just going to go through the season and be ready for a top 3 team next year in the Eastern Conference. But they made the playoffs, but they didn't have a lot of pieces to that playoff team. Spencer Dinwiddie, who's a great point guard, who I think needs to go ahead and go to another team because he's a starting point guard. Greg, if Ben learns how to shoot, he won't have to take so much punishment when he goes to the hole. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. He has to get that shot. He has to. If he can get that shot, he's going to be a top 10 player maybe. If he can get that shot down, probably a top 10 player. Might. But back to the Toronto and Brooklyn series. Yeah, it was a lot of players from Brooklyn that was, not playing in the NBA bubble. Spencer Dinwiddie was not there. DeAndre Jordan wasn't there. The only high point of that whole series for Brooklyn was Karis LeVert. Karis LeVert is a star in the making. Toronto played team ball, so unselfish. It's going to be hard to stop them. Yeah, Toronto is one of those underrated teams since Kawhi left that's playing so well. And Pascal Siakam, he's a superstar in my eyes. And then Kyle Lowry's playing well in the playoffs because you never know with Kyle Lowry. He could be one of those hot and cold players in the playoffs. And of course, playoff Fred VanVleet, he's playing out of his mind. So Toronto is moving on to play Boston. And that's going to be another great series. Oh my goodness, I can't wait for that series. I think the second round of the Eastern Conference is going to be a great series. It's going to be good basketball being played there. So with that all being said, that's basically what's going on in the Eastern Conference. Toronto was an easy sweep 4-0. Miami and Indiana was an easy sweep 4-0. And we're still waiting for the Milwaukee-Orlando series to end. It's coming to an end, I believe. And then we also have Boston and 76ers with the easy 4-0 sweep for Boston. So let's continue on to the Western Conference Finals. The Western Conference Finals. Western Conference first round. I'm jumping the gun. It's not even close to Western Conference Finals. So let's begin with that. Let's start at the top with the Lakers and Portland. I think the Lakers is basically going to wrap it up with no Damian Lillard still with no Damian Lillard playing. I think it's just a matter of time. The Lakers wrap up the series and move on to the second round. Who they're going to be waiting for whoever comes out of the Houston and Oklahoma City series. And I think that's one of the best series in the NBA playoff first round right now. It's been a lot of up and down play with Houston and Oklahoma City, and we counted. I counted Oklahoma City out at least 2 times, at least 2 of those games. I thought it was going to be an easy 5-game series for Houston, and boy was I wrong. Oklahoma City Thunder has came back from like 15-point deficits in these last 2 games, showing how Chris Paul is a great point guard, a great leader of that team. He will not quit on his teammates, and they will not quit on him, and it is showing in the series. This series has been a dogfight, and at this point, I don't know who's going to come out of this series. At this point, who's going to play the Lakers going into the second round? I don't know. This game right here, this game 5 right here is going to probably determine who's going to move on. Now it's going to be a little different because Russell Westbrook is coming back. He's going to play the next game. And here's the thing with Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook takes a lot of shots in the playoffs. We're talking about 40, 50 plus shots in the playoffs. And let's be 100% honest. Russell Westbrook can't shoot the 3 like that. Russell Westbrook game is definitely getting to the basket. He's so athletic, it's hard to stop him, and he's so fast. It's so hard to stop him. But if the Thunder can make him a jump shooter, I think they will be okay with that. And it's going to be hard to get those shots in between Russell Westbrook and James Harden because they both take a lot of shots. Especially in the playoffs, man. We know Russell just turns into another animal in the playoffs, and he's so aggressive when it comes to the playoffs. He wants to win so bad. I think he does a little too much. I don't think he gets to the team. He gets to the team ball. He's just so aggressive, and he sees red, and he takes a lot of shots that kind of hurts the team. This could be a different situation here now that his first playoff series in Houston, but we have to see. This game 5 is going to say a lot. It's going to say a lot. But this series has been the best by far. So let's continue on to the Denver and Utah series, which has been another good series. Now, I thought Denver was going to play a lot better with them being the 3 seed, and they have a lot of high expectations because Denver's a good team. But, man, Donovan Mitchell has been playing out of his mind for the Utah Jazz. We're talking about 50 points in one game. That is hard to do in the playoffs. And then Jordan Clarkson is playing excellent basketball off the bench for the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz is playing great team basketball. But on the other side, Jamal Murray is showing he's a superstar in the NBA. Jamal Murray is playing out of his mind. He's one of the best scorers in the NBA. He can get his own shot. He can create his own space to get off a good shot. It's hard to stop Jamal Murray. And that competitive fire is there for Jamal Murray. He doesn't want his team to lose. And Nikola Jokic, he's been playing the okay series. I think his best game was the last game that they played, and they came out with a big win. Now they're going to have to do it again, or it's over for them, for Denver. They're going to have to do it again, and they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that they go to that game 7 and move on to the next round. And look, I'm all for it, man. This one has been good, and I thought it would be. Now I did predict Denver winning the series, and I think it's still going to happen. I think it's still going to happen, maybe, but it's going to be 7 games. It has to be. I mean, they're already down 3 games to 2, so Denver's going to have to dig down deep and come out with a win. Excuse me. And so we're going to continue on to the last series, which is the 2 seed versus the 7 seed, and which is the Los Angeles Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks. And I said this from Jump Street. This is not your average 7 seed. The Dallas Mavericks are a legitimate playoff team. The Dallas Mavericks are a legitimate playoff team. When you have Luka Doncic, who is going completely berserk in these NBA playoffs, when he hit that game winner from where he was at with a hand in his face, oh my goodness, I lost it. I was like, wow. Luka Doncic, I said this on Facebook, Luka Doncic, if he stays healthy next year and the team is doing quite well for themselves, he's going to be the MVP. He's going to be the MVP of the league next year. And I truly believe that. He's a triple-double when he walks in the gym. But unfortunately, the injuries is really hurting Dallas, especially in Game 5 with Kristaps Porzingis not playing. And they got blown out their last game. It was not even close to being competitive. The Clippers just played well. And with Paul George had a couple of bad games. He has not been playing his best like we used to seeing Paul George play at a high level at all times. He can shoot the ball. He hasn't been shooting the ball well, but he did have a great bounce back game last game. And he did an excellent job getting his shot back. That was a big blowout. For the Clippers. Now, all said and done, we go into Game 6. I do not know if Kristaps Porzingis is playing, but if he is, it could be a 7-game series, guys. It could be a 7-game series. And look, let's be 100% real. I said this. Dallas is a legit playoff team. Dallas is good. And win or lose, I think Dallas have a lot to build from these playoffs. They're going to go in the offseason, get better talent surrounding Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. And they're going to come back, and I truly believe they're going to be a top 3 team next year in the West, maybe. In the West, we'll have to see. I mean, the Warriors are going to come back and be better because they're bringing back majority of their team back. So you never know. The Warriors can be back in there, but I see top 3 potential in the Dallas Mavericks. So yeah, let's recap the Lakers with the 3-1 lead against Portland. I see the Lakers going ahead and handle their business. Houston and Oklahoma City tied 2 games apiece. That's a tough game to predict, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who's going to come out of that series. We're going to have to see game 6. Game 6 is going to tell it all for that series. So we're going to go ahead and move on to Denver and Utah. I don't know if Utah is going to handle their business. I think it's going to be a 7-game series, and So I think Denver's going to win the next game, and Game 7 is going to be a dog fight. And then Los Angeles Clippers and Dallas Mavericks. I see the Clippers moving on to the second round. I think they're going to handle their business in Game 6 and move on to play either Denver or Utah. So that's basically what's going on in the playoffs. It's been so great, and honestly, I'm glad that they are continuing because this has been a good a good playoff series. I wish it was a little bit different with home court advantage, but we can't we beggars can't be choosers. We just gotta get what we can get and enjoy the NBA playoffs, right? So yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it, and I can't wait to see what unfolds for the rest of the playoffs. And we're going to talk about it next week. We're going to talk about a second round series and who do we have winning. So yeah, so basically that's going to be the end of the show. I did say 30 minutes, but I ended up going 40. So that's all right. You when you talk sports, things like this happen. You just continue on and just talk. So I appreciate everybody who came to the show. We're going to be back next Friday, same time, from noon to 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we're going to talk about more excellent topics. So I appreciate everybody who came to the show, who commented, who interact, and everything. So I will see you guys next week. Peace.